Okay, welcome everybody to tonight's webinar. We're going to have some fun. We're going to talk about some history. History wasn't my thing usually when I went to school, but I've gained a new appreciation of history as far as how we got here now, and especially when it comes to the history of PBM, which we'll be talking to tonight. So sit back, relax, and text your friends to join us. Please remember to do that and send out a quick email because we'd like to have as many people as we can on tonight's webinar. So thank you for joining us. Also, for all those that will be with us tonight, they will get a chance of winning a Palm Ultimate. That's one of these devices here, and that's a $1,300 value, and it works really, really well. So if you stay to the end of our program, you'll be able to enter in to the ballot. You'll be entered in as a ballot into our month. And so if you join us 4 times this month, you'll get 4 ballots in. Also, we had a winner that we announced for April. That was Jeffrey. His last name started with a K. Anyways, he's very thankful to have received his unit, and he's going to put it to some use, I guess. So that's great. That's great. Also, we will be announcing the winner for May coming up in next week's Tuesday night's webinar. So, all right, and tonight what we'll be talking about is the history of PBM Part 2. And this is getting more exciting as to some of the more recent developments, and we're going to get into that. So, we also have a guest today, actually 2 guests. That's Rose and Kerri. They'll be joining us in a minute. It was pre-recorded earlier today, so it was great. It was great to be able to hear of how PBM has made a difference in their life.
15 years back, I realized that light could make a huge difference on the body. I ended up designing this very powerful light using LED technology. With this amount of very high power density, it can reach through the tissues and travel right to the joints. But the key is that the power density and the area is extremely important to deliver that light into that. The mitochondria receives that light and converts that energy into the cell. So it's like giving the cell super high octane fuel, and they run like a jet, and they're able to do all the things for repair in that. What are the products we have? Well, we have a small device, which is actually large when it comes to light therapy. You have a fairly large area of light and a high power density that can be used for different parts of the body, like your fingers, shoulder, back, neck, knees, ankle, anywhere on the body. And then we have what's called the mini canopy, which is about 1 foot square in size. And then we have our full-size canopy, which is basically 6 of the mini canopies. And then we have another device, which is the helmet, and that device can help for mental issues, for brain injuries, for concussions, for PTSD, TBI, all of those kinds of things. And there's new research out there that shows it could be helpful for not only strokes, but dementia, Alzheimer's, and Parkinson's, and just different brain issues. Our plans are to move this technology into every area of the world where there's pain and inflammation, which is basically everywhere, and to expand that so people understand all the applications where this technology can be used to help them in their health in the body as a wellness device. People are looking for how they can treat themselves without drugs.
Okay, so we got people coming in from Colorado, Illinois, Ohio, Dallas, Oregon, and Ketchikan, Alaska. Another one from Ohio, Marysville, Ohio. So welcome. So tonight we're going to have on a special guests, and Rose and Kerri, and let's get underway then, Jim. Hi, we got tonight we got Kerri and Rose. Rose is to your left, Kerri's to your right, and they have been able to have an experience with the SunPower LED. So hi Rose, hi Kerri.
Hi. Hi. We're glad to be here. Yeah.
So tell me, first of all, how did you hear about us?
So we have a friend of ours who she actually had COVID very seriously, and it took her a long time to recover. So she ended up having time to look into all kind of different treatment modalities to get her back to functioning again. And so that's actually when she came across the near infrared and your company.
Okay.
And then that's how it all started. So then her name was Margaret. She did a whole lot more research and then was talking about it in our prayer group. And I ended up wanting to invest in one as well because I could see the potential to have that be a great tool for just for healing for people, because there's a lot of other options out there that God's made, one of which being this amazing near infrared light. And I began to just understand how effective it could be for all kinds of things. So I did. I invested in one, and I didn't know how to use it right away. Yeah. So it ended up staying in the box for a bit. But then when I was talking about how to use it and starting to listen to a few of the webinars, then it's like it's been limitless as far as using it in all different situations.
So Kerri, and it was Rose that introduced you to the light therapy then?
Yeah, Rose and our other friend, but Rose
Margaret.
is light. Yeah, Margaret and Rose. So Rose lent me her light because I have arthritis in my knees. And then in the winter, I was shoveling snow and I did a lot of laneways. And then I had a hard time walking home and I had pain going all the way up the back of my legs, all the way up. And so I just was moving the palm light around to the different spots on my legs, and it was helping control pain.
Okay. All right. And so how many times a day did you use it? Once a day, or how often did you try it or use it?
At first I was using it maybe every 3 days, and then that wasn't really doing a lot. And so then Rose suggested that we start using it every day. And then I was using it every day, and it was really starting to make more of an improvement,
Yep. That is key, is to have enough treatments, to not only have enough treatments, but if you can do it more regularly, like daily, you'll get more out of it. And I've even suggested to people to even do it twice a day. Why not? I mean, we get hungry, several times a day. Why not the cells getting hungry, so to speak, several times? So if we keep them fed, they like doing all sorts of things and fixing things. So Rose, how did you start using the light? What did you see it being used for in your?
In my situation, I ended up running. I was running down the stairs too fast, missed the bottom step when I was at a friend's house.
Ouch.
Landed full weight on my ankle. My left ankle turned, and the whole weight of my body went on that foot and turned ankle. And I was in pain. By noon that day, I couldn't put any weight on it. I was actually away. I was away at a conference in Pennsylvania. So it's not like, and it was the last day of the conference. We were going home the next day. So it wasn't like I wasn't going to go to emerge or anything. So I ended up just keeping my shoe on. And with some prayer, I was starting to put a little bit of weight through it by the end of that day. So that was good. But I came home then and I started using the light on my foot twice a day. And I know that I experienced more rapid healing than was possible if I'd done nothing. I saw the bruising color change. really quickly. Like my whole foot was purpley. And then I was using the light, and then it changed to that, you know, that when a bruise starts healing, you get that yellowish greenish color, and
Yeah.
then it disappeared. So I would move it around at the different, like I used it where the pain points were along the top of the foot and
Yeah.
underneath the side. And I was already putting weight through it, but I couldn't move it in any other positions. Like I had to wear a stable shoe. And, but certainly within 2 weeks, it was completely healed. Like that. Otherwise, that would have taken weeks, I'm
Yeah,
sure.
and I know a doctor friend of mine, she routinely rolls her ankle, and she said that it would be like over the course of a month, she'd usually end up on crutches, and you know, and then the swelling would be there and everything, and then slowly it'd go down, and you know, within you know, a few days, you'd finally be able to start putting some weight on it. And
Right.
she started this time. She had the light, and she thought, "Well, why not? I'll give it a try." And so she did, and she found out that immediately the swelling started going down, even even during the session. And not only that, then she said, "I was able to." I still had the crutches, but I was able to start putting a little bit of pressure on it. And she says the next day I was able to like already start walking,
Yeah.
you know, with this, and then the pain very quickly subsided, which she said would have taken a whole lot longer according to her history, and she's a medical doctor, so she was actually quite surprised at how fast that worked. So
Yeah.
did you happen to see any other things that I know that's your situation? Any other friends that you noticed some change on? Did they try the light, or so far it's just
Yes.
yourself?
No, so Carrie and I would share the light, you know.
Mhm.
So I do it and then run it to her, and then so that we did that. But then in our group, we have this group, and there was actually a couple of gals that invested in one. They also invested in one. So anyway, we're loaning them out. Ended up going to a friend in Cambridge. So she actually fell back while she was carrying her granddaughter in the car seat, fell back on her back, holding the baby car seat, so the full force, and she ended up breaking her lumbar, the second lumbar, L2. There was a fracture.
Hmm.
So it ended up being a stable fracture so that she could walk. So she ended up using the light, and she actually used it um, 3 to 4 times every day.
Yeah.
She went for imaging 2.5 weeks later. Now, and there was actually no evidence of the break anymore. Now
They
that was
had the
exactly
X-rays.
why.
They had the X-rays to show, and then
But that was actually also, just want to clarify too, that was in combination with prayer,
yes.
because it was the combination of the two. She couldn't get over how there was minimal pain. She was using the light. She basically had no pain after that first initial impact in that day when the meds from the hospital wore off. And she started using like I'd run the light to her that day. She had
Hmm.
it. And then she started using it three to 4 times a day. She
Yeah.
never experienced the pain. So it's amazing. It was the
Yeah.
combination of those two things.
Oh, I totally believe in prayer. I've for 40 years
Oh,
I've seen
yeah.
answered prayer in all different situations. So I highly recommend um, to get in touch with the creator of the universe.
Yes. It
And
was just
bring
quite an amazing testimony. She loved the light, and it gave her a lot of relief,
That's
comfort.
beautiful. That's beautiful. Well, is there anything else you'd like to share? Or are we good?
Yeah, we just actually, actually, we have a friend now whose husband just underwent some extensive knee replacement surgery last week. So he's currently using the light
There
a
we
couple of
go.
times. You know, it's going to speed up the healing. So
Yep, and he should see it. And it's always neat when the surgeon looks at the surgery that he's done, usually with the follow-up appointment, and says, "Oh my gosh, you heal fast," you know. And I had one individual, a pastor, who had surgery in his jaw. He had reconstructive surgery, and the surgeon saw him at the 2 week point and said, "My gosh," he says, you heal so fast. You got 4 weeks." He says, "It looks like you're 4 weeks after the surgery, and you're only 2 weeks in." And the pastor said, "Well, I've been using this light daily on the area," and unfortunately, the surgeon said, "Well, that you just heal fast. That's all."
Yeah. We know the truth.
Yeah. Anyways, thank you very much for joining us, and I'm sure many people will learn from your testimony what this can do. So thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for all your hard work as well. We really appreciate you and your company. So.
Thank you. Thank you. So, part two of the history. So we see in this particular picture that they called it the Seashore Sanatoria. This is New York State in 1912, 1913. The left picture, boy who had tuberculosis was cured by heliotherapy. Now, helio being sun therapy. The right picture, children at the beach with cured cases of TB of the wrist and ankle that were also cured by the heliotherapy. Okay, Dr. Royes La Chalet, this is in Switzerland, 1914. He used heliotherapy for tuberculosis in a sanatorium, called it Le Chalet in La Chalet, I guess, in Switzerland. They used plaster jackets with large openings to allow access of sunlight to the diseased spines. So vitamin D is something very interesting. In the 1920s, 1921, Unger and Hess noticed that a seasonal independence of rickets is due to seasonal variations of sunlight. They suggested that sunlight and fresh air help prevent rickets, a bone disease. In 1925, Alfred Hess stated light equals vitamin D when he discovered that vitamin D is produced when he irradiated a type of cholesterol with light. So it turns out that vitamin D is now they're realizing it's not a vitamin so much as a hormone. It's incredibly important throughout the body. And vitamin D is created when you go out into the sunlight. It's actually 297 nanometer. It's a wavelength in the UV spectrum, UVB, and it is extremely important. That's why even during the winter, we should be outside because we can get some of that UVB that'll create vitamin D. And you can sit in front on the other side of a window and you will not get any vitamin D created by, even if the sunlight's coming through the window. You have to be outside. Regular glass will block 100% of UVB. So you have to be outside to get the exposure that you need to create it. And there's information more recent as well talking about how vitamin D also improves the mood that you have. Dermatology and jaundice in the 1950s. In the 1950s, physiotherapists in hospitals in Australia, Scandinavia, England, America, and Canada were treating dermatological conditions with light and also especially UVB light. So we are probably quite familiar. if you've been in the ward where babies are born, you see the blue light going on, because blue light can help the detox the bilirubin for babies. So just it's really neat that blue light can be used in that way. Also, UVB has also been shown for UVA and UVB has been shown to help with certain skin conditions. So next slide here. Theodore Maiman, this is in 1927 to 2007. Einstein had theorized that lasers using coherent light in 1917. So Einstein came up with the idea, and when it finally got developed, Theodore and his group finally developed the first working lasers with coherent light in 1960. I do remember probably was when I was about 10 years old. They had already then developed the lasers to the point where I went to the Science Center in Toronto, and they showed a laser being in operation and burning a hole right through a brick. So it's pretty interesting. That was that would have been around 1970. So that's where lasers, and now those are hot lasers, okay? We're talking about here is using lower levels of light, which they call cold lasers or low-level laser therapy. So Andre Mester, Dr. Andre Mester, 1903 to 1984. I got a chance to meet his grandson, who is continuing in the legacy of trying to help forward photobiomodulation. That's the new term. So the Andre was a physician in Hungary, and he developed the first low-level laser device in 1967. He had used it worked with it to try and figure out how to use this light to heal. And he's really the pioneer of laser medicine. Now considered the father of red light therapy and photobiomodulation. Now, when they started, as things moved along in PBM, you'll hear terms like photobiomodulation. That's the newest term. And this is the new term that's a capture-all, because before there were so many different versions of it, it was becoming very difficult in scientific circles to be searching for the right term. So there was low-level laser therapy, there was cold laser therapy, low-level light therapy, and just red light therapy, just a whole host of different names were out there, and they finally brought it all together. This is about, I think about 7 years ago, 8 years ago, that they came up with the new term of photobiomodulation to describe, and just there's so many different mechanisms that are happening under this term of photobiomodulation, using light of different wavelengths to penetrate and to cause effect. Dr. Norman Rosenthal, American psychiatrist, he studied disorders of mood, sleep, and biological rhythms. He's the first psychiatrist to describe and diagnose seasonal affective disorder. I don't know how many out there have heard that term, SAD, and seasonal affective disorder. And he worked, his work led to the development of light therapy for SAD. One of the things you can do, yes, you can spend $100, you can spend even $200 for a light device for SAD. And really, if you just start off with a light source, like a 100-watt light bulb, but if you're going to use LEDs, which I would suggest in this case, it would be an LED with 5,000, 6,000 Kelvin That's called the color temperature. And 5,000, 6,000 is in the cool, cool white. And you'll notice that the white actually looks a little bluish. And it is that bluish light that comes from white light first thing in the morning that'll help set your circadian rhythm. So it's extremely important to get that shot of white light. And I know people who have suffered from this. Causes depression and just a host of other issues. But if you get that first shot, even of 10 minutes of that kind of light, first thing in the morning, it'll reset your clock and it'll help a lot. And the other thing you need to do is if you are affected by light in this, like in a different way, sometimes in a negative way in the evenings, it's really, really important that you cut your exposure to blue light. So you want to, in that case, you want to have almost incandescent bulbs, which are 2,500 to 3,000 Kelvin. And that is more of a reddish hue. Or if you have an incandescent bulb, you can also turn down your light dimmer and just make your rooms a little more red. And that will very much help with that whole circadian rhythm. So it helps your body to shut down. Okay, NASA in the 1990s, they investigated the effects of light from LEDs to stimulate wound healing in astronauts. All of these we have references to if you are interested in getting a copy of the information, please send us an email to info@sunpowerled.com. Oh, I went backwards. So there's been a lot of advancements. 1990 to 2010, more and more researchers began to explore using light therapy for various medical conditions, skin issues, wound healing, pain management, and even some hair growth in there. And the FDA in 2002, the first low-level laser therapy, LLLT, as that was, like I say, another term, device was approved by the FDA. In 2010 to 2020, coming up in the last 10 years, previous terms, as I mentioned, red light and near infrared light therapy, low-level light therapy, low-level laser therapy, cold level, all has been now officially adopted under photobiomodulation. I guess it was in 2000, about 10 years ago, I guess. And I got to thank this fellow. I'm going to say, hey Shenkin, Vladimir. He was a dentist in Finland and independent medical researcher. And I got to thank him for creating a PBM scientific research database. It's really, really good. We have a reference on our database. If you go to under our research tab on our research page, you'll see the bit.ly.com PBM database. Excellent work that he's done. Really has advanced the whole area of photobiomodulation, because people now can easily search for, let's say you got eczema, you can put in eczema and search the database as to what kind of research is out there. Or if you have, let's say, concussions, what about concussions? You can put concussion in there and find research on that. So over 7,000 research articles there. This is a wonderful scientist as well, Dr. James Tour, that I got to know. He's the professor of material science and nanoengineering. A couple months ago, I had him on my webinar. Feel free to go back to our earlier webinars if you look under past videos and webinars. Interesting. He created light-powered submicroscopic machines that act as jackhammers to safely kill cancer cells. So there's 50,000 of these jackhammers that could be put side by side, and they'd all fit on on the width of a human hair to give you how large it is. But I got a chance to meet up with him more recently, a couple months ago, but we started a relationship a number of years ago when I suggested that if he was looking for a light source, we could help him, and we ended up developing some light unit light devices using high power LEDs at certain wavelengths to actually run his drills. He has a certain machine that was a drill, and now he's created a jackhammer. These are all atomic sized little subatomic particles, that arrangements that he's been able to come up with. And when you turn on the light, it actually gives the device energy to run. I'd like to play this video now of revolutionizing healthcare, and it's very interesting. It's by Scott Faulkner, and it's just a short clip, and I think you'll enjoy it if you haven't seen it before. So,
Red light therapy. It is truly revolutionizing healthcare, literally as we sit here right now. Red light therapy is saving a life. Red light therapy is improving a life. Somewhere in the world, military forces are using red light therapy in their conditioning. SEAL units, Special Forces for the United States Army, NATO pilots, Israeli Defense Forces. They're all incorporating red light therapy into their conditioning, into building endurance, recovery from their exercises, and improving their performance. At the same time, we have young people at places like St. Jude having their lives saved with treatments relating to taking care of the side effects of cancer chemotherapy. Every major sports team in the world is now using red light therapy. Every NFL team has either a handheld or a light bed. Every NBA team, every World Cup soccer team, most collegiate athletic teams now are using red light therapy. It is truly the future of medicine, but it's actually becoming the present of medicine.
I hope you enjoyed that. It gives you a little more perspective on the different applications. And this is still growing. This is still at its infancy. Most medical doctors do not know anything about this technology. And if you ask them, they probably will say, well, I don't know. But if they would do some research and find out what PBM, what photobiomodulation can do. So I'm going to go back to my slide here, just to finish up on the slides. Okay, so at SunPowerLED, what we've been able to do is it's been the last 15 years that have been, actually now 16 years, using light therapy for photobiomodulation, and working with LEDs as far back as 19 years ago with high power LEDs. But SunPowerLED, this company that we've developed, offers very safe, powerful products. We have the Palm handhelds. Chronic pain really helps with chronic pain and inflammation. The mini canopies, which is the units that have a larger area. And then we have the full canopies, which you see to the bottom left, where you can treat a larger area of the body. And then we have transcranial helmets that one can put on their head. There's all sorts of neurological issues, stroke, TBI, concussions, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, etc. There's research out there, that shows how light therapy can be helpful. So if you want to contact us, come visit sunpowerled.com. You can call us toll free at 1-888-913-0012 and email info@sunpowerled. Now we're going to get into the question and answer period. And if you have questions, we'd like to try and answer them. And TBI stands for traumatic brain injury. So in the meantime, I'll just show you while I'm waiting for a few questions to come about. So this is our mini canopy that I was said with the larger area. So you can tilt this down and it has a stand to go right on top of you when you're laying on a bed and or treat from the back. However, it's got the two wavelengths. It has the 660 nanometer and the 810 nanometer. That's our mini canopy, and we have the this is our helmet that we talked about, and it has the two wavelengths as well. This is the 660 nanometer bright red, and then the 810 nanometer, which you can see. It doesn't look very visible. You can see some dots there, but it's actually quite bright, but our eyes just can't see it, that's all. Okay, so that is the helmet, and then I mentioned about the smaller devices that we have as well. We have the Palm and the Ultimate, which has the 660 nanometer and the 810, and then we also have the Super Palm, which is our unit that we've developed with the longer wavelength of 1050 nanometer. And that has the same 660 nanometer, but it also has the 1050, which is totally invisible to my eyes. So, but you can actually see the purplish look to it. Anyways, that actually can help penetrate a little bit deeper. So I'd try and go to some of these questions now. Okay. Here's from a comment from Yuli. I've been using your Palm Professional one for several years now. Was diagnosed with macular degeneration about 7 years ago, and according to a research person, a person can go blind within 10 years. My eye doctor is amazed my eyes are holding and are not getting worse. At my last exam, she mentioned that as soon as these are approved by FDA, she will get them to her office as well. These Palm lights are FDA registered, and what that means is that doctors can use this in what's called off-label. And off-label means it's used for something other than it was originally designed for. And that's up to the doctor, but that's allowed. As a matter of fact, many drugs, I think I heard something like almost 75% of the drugs out there are used for that situation where it's allowed to be used. It's not registered for that usage or application, but it's allowed. So that's something that can be passed along. To Beth, she mentions about a friend with a cataract surgery that went bad, and what about using the light? That would be something that should be explored with the optometrist. But I think in a lot of different other applications, the light can really help in the healing phase. Janine is asking the question. I have the must be the Ultimate, and I'm wondering what it can do for insomnia and high blood pressure. Obviously, those are insomnia. Comes back to sometimes treatment on the brain can help. It's worth a shot and not harmful. That's the nice thing about with the FDA. They had a look at all the I think it was like $100 million people that have gotten red light therapy. They figure and they haven't got any cases of problems because of that. No reported cases. So it's a very, very safe type of technology to use. Okay, I have this, I use the Super Palm right next to my skin, but the pictures show the canopy's 4 to 6 inches from the skin, which is the correct way to use the light. I would recommend, like with the Super Palm or the different devices, we've designed it with these, this is called our knobby ring. And the idea being that there's a space made inside here. So you're not right against the skin. You're holding the device against the skin, but as you can see, those knobs are holding it back a little ways. So it's actually good to hold it that way. You can shorten your treatment. Yes, you could treat from 4 to 6 inches away. It'll do a larger area, but it just, you'll have to just increase your time. And if you're talking about skin, it's something that 1-2 minutes is plenty time. 1 minute even with the, if you're talking the Super Palm, will be plenty to deal with skin issues. We've heard some good reports for eczema and psoriasis being cleaned up after 6 weeks. So after 7 years of dealing with that. So it's possible that the light can help your body to try and heal. Tim is asking, where would I use the light for anxiety? What part of my head? I wished I knew that. I don't know. Somebody is going to have to try. You're going to have to try the different areas and see if you do get an effect. Where is that? I know that's more trial and error, but that's kind of what you're going to have to do to figure. In the beginning, you might want to just see generally if you were to treat the whole skull area and spend half an hour of time over all the whole area. We recommend that when you're dealing with areas on the brain, we're using 1 minute of the red and 3 minutes of the near infrared for a particular area. We've had really good results with that. Okay, David is asking, please repeat the Finish's Dentist website. Actually, if you go to our on SunPowerLED.com and then go under research, you can see the database there. You can click on it and get it. Thank you, Jeffrey. Jeffrey mentioned these LED devices are FDA. They're actually FDA registered, to be clear, as general wellness devices, so not specific therapeutics. Exactly. We're just talking general wellness here, and you can see if you can kind of use it as a off label. It's a little different but it's still a wellness type application. Closeness for the mini canopy. Jennifer's asking that. It generally, I would say 1 to 2 inches is what the distance is. That probably is ideal. That's, anyways, that unless if you want to have it back further, it'll cover a larger area. It's just good. It just allows them for more time than to like if you're covering double the area, then you're going to basically be doubling the time. If you do 4 times the area, so think of it that way. If you do 4 times the area, like pulling it back way back here, and you're doing the whole side of your face, now you're going to do maybe 3-4 minutes. So you're 4 times the area, 4 times the time. Skin issues. Thank you, Geraldine, for your question. I would recommend using both because the 660, and you don't have to do long treatments. Again, with skin, 1 minute, 2 minutes is plenty of time. Yeah, so as far as I would do 1 minute of each. There's different mechanisms that are going on compared 660 to 1050. Now 660 will not penetrate very deep, but it still will penetrate into the skin and in deeper in yet. I mean, it goes right through my cheek. We've been able to do measurements that show that it goes right through my teeth, right through my cheek, no problem. So 660 will go through, but there's a little different mechanisms that are going on at the 1050 nanometer. And there's an area that's called structured water, or the fourth phase of water. That's a whole new area that people are starting to research. Very interesting. And we welcome people to come to our facility. Just get in contact with us, and we'll try and fit you in to giving a light therapy so you can try it. Okay. Well, I think we've wrapped up the questions that we've got come in tonight. So thank you, everyone, for joining us tonight. And that's great. Join us in next Tuesday night. We will have a new topic outside of history, and we'll go from there. So thank you again for joining us, and have a great week. And please visit our website. Like I say, there's many webinars you can watch, older ones that are there. Okay. All right. All the best. May God richly bless everyone here that's joined us tonight.